Good morning to you. We hope that you had a lovely night and you're ready to face the day. We here at CBA TV are happy to bring you Good Morning East Africa. My name is Wangui, Ngugi, and with me in studio is
Abdillahi Hassan.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, in today's show, we are going to tell you why you need to look at your old parents and why are we having leaders who are so old, yet they are still leading their countries. And we're also going to look about climate change. Someone is trying to save the environment.
Elon Musk, we'll have to have a look at what he's doing now.
Well, do you know that no matter how old you are, you can still be president and leader of a country?
Okay, I think we should change that.
Why?
Because a lot of problems start with old leaders that cannot function, and some people are ruling on their behalf.
Well, if you say so, then someone else somewhere says that is not true, because he is still going to seek for a 5th term as president at the age of 81 years old. I'm talking about Algerian President Abdelaziz.
Abdelaziz Bouteflika.
Yes, he is on a wheelchair. He has a stroke. He has been the president for the last 20 years. And he is still seeking a 5th term as president of Algeria.
Well, what amazes me about Abdelaziz Bouteflika is that even though he is incapacitated, he just wants to go on and just rule.
Yeah.
I suspect that it's not just him that wants to rule. Some others in his circle wants to rule by his name and just give him a charade. Like put him in the front and rule the country as they wish.
Actually, it is said that it is very likely he's going to win. Like he's not going to lose these elections. And he's rarely even seen in public because he's so old and he's ailing.
Yeah, he had a stroke in 2013 and in 2014 he ran for office. And then his prime minister was actually the one who's in the campaign trailing, campaigning for presidency, talking about issues. I don't think he even appeared once at a campaign event.
Well, my question is, the people who are electing him, why would you elect a president who cannot do his job because he's ailing and he's old? He cannot travel and represent his country as much as other presidents do.
Well, there's no other option actually, because the opposition is a Heyman, like it. You just put there so that to make Abdelaziz Bouteflika more appealing. The real opposition are banned from running for office.
Well, you know, he's not the only old leader. We actually have the president of Tunisia. Can you imagine? He is 92 years old and he's president.
And the more ironic thing is that he came to power after a revolution by young people, the 2010-2011 Arab Spring, which started with Tunisia.
And also the Malaysian Prime Minister, he's 93.
93-year-old and came back to power after around 20 years. He was out of office. No, actually he resigned in early 2000s after ruling for more than 20 years. So he was prime minister from in the 80s, 90s, and even the early 20s.
I think the reason people are electing these leaders, no matter how old they are, is maybe because they believe they are wise, like they are wiser than the young people, because it is said that old people are so wise because they have lived longer and they know how to handle things better than a young person. Do you believe that?
No, it is circumstantial actually, because Mahathir Mohamad is ushered into power because of the woes and the problems of the current incompetent Najib Abdel-Razak, his successor, who also in this corruption allegations.
Well, I think people need to give up when they are old. Give up leadership.
Actually, Mahathir will give up power after, he said, maybe 2 years. Then he will give to the leader of his party, will become prime minister. He just wanted to beat Najib Razak, the former prime minister, who was caught up in massive corruption allegations.
So if you were a president, for example, and you grew very, very, very old, would you still want to continue to lead?
No, I don't want to grow old in office. 10 years is more than enough for any job you're doing. Nevertheless, the most important, most demanding job in the country. You know, presidency or the head of government or state is the most difficult job in that country.
Yeah.
Because you are responsible for all the welfare of all the people in the country.
And everybody is looking up to you. And you're old.
As they should.
Yeah.
It's their right, because you are assuming responsibility for them. So you should be able to deliver.
Well, I think it's time we change constitutions in every country so that, like, when you grow old, do not vie for presidency anymore.
Actually, must be an age limit for seeking the office of the presidency or prime minister, because there's a, you know, because there's an age limit for also, you know, you can't be younger than 35, for instance, or 40 in Somaliland's case, to run for presidency.
Yeah.
So there must be, you know, upper cap for running for office. Like, if you are 75, okay, give it a rest.
Yeah. Actually, 70 is even old. Like, you should be resting in the village, enjoying watching cattle and sheep and goats and eating.
And reflecting on your life. You had a good run, when you are 70.
Yeah. Well, anyway, still speaking of old age, there are some countries in this world where when your parents grow old, they can sue you as their child for not taking care of them when they are old.
Well, I think that's an awesome thing to have. That's so good. Because some people are not that responsible and are ungrateful to take care of their parents, their families, when they are old.
Well, in Bangladesh, there is this 75-year-old man who has sued his son for neglecting him, for not taking care of him when he is old. And he's saying that he spent a lot of his life bringing up this child. Like, he and his wife suffered so much to raise this guy. His name is Mohammed Shahjahan. So they spent all their money to raise up Mohammed until he got educated, got a good job. He is now married, but he forgot about the parents. So the parent went to court and sued the son.
So isn't it good that we have, that Bangladesh have laws that, you know, punishes such a people and give justice to those parents who sacrifice a lot to bring out their kids, their children.
Actually, it's not only in Bangladesh. We also have this in Singapore. We also have this in China. We have this in India. Like in Singapore, there is a Maintenance Parents Act that has been implemented such that it is a must for a child to take care of their aging parents. And in China, actually, there were 5 adults who were arrested and they were sentenced to 2 years in prison for neglecting their father.
I think this is possible in these societies, the collective societies, that put emphasis on the welfare of community at large. For instance, and everyone takes responsibility for his fellow or her fellow community members, instead of individualistic or individual-oriented societies like the Western countries. I don't think this can happen in Western countries.
I don't think it can happen. Because, okay, first of all, did you raise me on a debt? Like, did I even tell you to bring me into this world? Like, am I supposed to pay back because I was your child and you raised me?
Well, you are not supposed to pay back, but you have moral obligation to take care of all needy people, especially if they are close to you, especially if they are your parents who have sacrificed all their lives to bring you up. For instance, this father may have, you know, sacrificed his retirement plans, or the money he could have retired comfortably, just to get this guy through a good education, good college, good university, so he can have the job that he is now enjoying.
But he has a family, he has children to take care of. Probably his money is only enough for his wife and his children, and now the parents are demanding that he pays them.
No, actually parents don't demand beyond the capacity of their sons or daughters. They know what he makes. They are just reasonable people, and also they care about the grandchildren, because these are their families members. They care about them, and they want their welfare.
But I think this law is bringing disunity in families, because when it comes to a point where your parents your parent goes to a court to sue you as the son, will you ever be in good terms? Like, yes, they'll tell you, be giving this guy $100 and something every month. Yes, you will do it because you were ordered by the court to do it. But will you be in good terms with your parents? Your parent even sending you to jail?
No, it's not that bad actually, and it's a last resort. First, they will have family members, other family members, neighbors, even good friends that will mediate between them and try to conciliate between the family members. But if it goes to that, I think it shows how desperate the parents are.
But sometimes I also try to think that some parents, they do not do a very good job raising their children. For example, there's a parent who will find they never took care of their children. The children grew up in hardship, and then when they grew up, just by God's luck, they made it in life. And then now you come to realize that, oh, my son is now the minister of this and this ministry. He's doing really well. Why is he not supporting me? And then you take them to court, and you never cared about them when they were growing up.
Well, the judge has he can think about all these factors and make a ruling, because that's a big factor. Has this guy, the parent, made a good about his promise of raising this kid and providing for him when he was young, when he was in need? Because this law is actually about reciprocation of what has been given to the child.
Well, the World Health Organization says that by the year 2020, there will be a lot of old people above the age of 60. Like, the number will be more than the number of children who will be under 5. We're talking about next year. The old people will be more than the children, which means this is a concern. And yes, it is true. When you get old, you're not able to do a lot. You cannot work. And yes, we need to take care of our parents. I have heard of cases where, like, even in the Western countries, the children left. They forgot about their parents. And even their parents can die in the house. And because, people do not have this very good social life there, someone can even die in the house and nobody knew. Like, he got so old he could not get food, and they die in the house, and nobody gets to know about it. Like, they come and discover somebody died in this house months and months ago.
So this can mean that the government has less responsibility if this, is made universal laws. Like a lot of countries, if they adopt these laws of taking care of parents, it may mean that the government has less responsibility and a heavy burden is taken from them to take care of the elderly.
Or maybe the government should think about having old people's homes, because what if this old person, the children died, who will take care of them? Like, he has no child alive. All the children died. He's left alone. Where will this old person go? So I think even the government needs to set up old people's homes where old people can go and they are taken care of.
So pensions should not be scrapped at all.
Yeah.
They should be there, but also to share the burden with the state. Families have to assume more responsibility for their elderly members.
Yeah. There's something you are telling me about climate change.
Well, Elon Musk, he is a billionaire and the founder and the CEO of Tesla Motors, is trying to fight climate change by releasing all the patents of his company.
So like he's given up the rights of his company, such that the rights to this technology and this innovation.
He's given up the intellectual property rights for all the innovations, all the inventions that they have made in manufacturing electric cars that reduce carbon emissions of combustion engine cars, normal cars.
But I think this is a very good move, even though giving up your patent rights, it's not easy. What he has done is something like not so many people would do. And I think it's good.
What he's saying is that I'm very skeptical about the concept of patenting and the property rights because it stifles progress, and that's not. And he has a point there. It's not the way science has progressed so far. We have not come to this place, and we have not reached where we are now by patenting ideas, by having these restrictions on innovation.
And his innovation is a good innovation because electric vehicles are the way to go now.
Yeah, these patent laws are restricted the use of innovation for 20 years. They give the owner exclusive rights for using the discovery or innovation for 20 years. By then, climate change have, claimed many lives, millions of lives.
Yeah. And climate change now is everybody's talking about climate change. And that is why we are seeing these changes in weather patterns, extreme colds, seasons, like what we are having right now in the US and in China and the Himalayas, like even animals are dying.
I've seen this headline today, this morning actually, that Himalayas are melting. And it's endangering the lives of millions of people in South Asia, in India and Bangladesh.
And even the extreme droughts that we are having. Like, I heard we are going to have a drought.
1.5 million Somalis
will be affected.
Only in Somalia, that's 3.5 million Somalis will face food shortage and need assistance this year.
Well, I think what this guy from the Tesla company is doing is good, and people need to do the same. Like, we all need to come together and then solve this problem.
Do you think that electric cars will be used like normal cars, and then we will not have all these carbon emissions of normal cars?
Well, it depends. First of all, are they cheaper? That is my question. Because if it's expensive, less and less people will buy them. But if they find a way of making them affordable, I think everybody would want to drive an electric car.
And I think this move will help in making it, less expensive. Because when there are too many manufacturers, too many sellers, the prices tend to go down.
Yes, because there'll be competition. Right now, I'm thinking of how many people are now thinking of going his direction. Oh, he has given up his patent rights, so I can make it. And maybe they'll even come up with better ideas and better models. And the competition will make it cheaper.
Yeah, the science is a collaborative industry. When someone gives out his patent is, other one will tweak it, change it up a little bit, make a progress, and the next big idea is born there.
And innovation keeps, like, ideas are so many out there. We might expect a surprise, like a very huge development on this idea on electric
So we need
vehicles.
to commend Mr. Elon Musk for his brave move, actually.
Yes.
In another news, that's not that good. That's
not good?
Yeah, it's not that good. It's from Brau, my hometown. The police and the morality committee, which is actually kind of works like a morality police, or tries to work like that, has disrupted a launching party for a new book that celebrates love.
Surely, like they said, you cannot launch this book.
They disrupted the event. They have not
they
said
even
that.
disrupted. So people had gathered, ready
People
to...
have gathered, and then the police is standing up, and with them there's this committee of morality and told people, you cannot have this event. Just go home.
I feel so sorry for the event organizers. Do you know how expensive it is and how time-consuming it is to even come up with a simple birthday party? Like, you have to plan for it, you have to call people and invite them, and this is something big. Launching a book is big. It's not
It's
just
big. The book is also all about love. It's written by this author. It's called Abdillahi Al-Tahir, Abdillahi Sum'at. So the book is about love. It starts with what is love. Then he celebrates legendary Somali stories about love and the art that's all died now in Somali communities about writing love letters. When was the last time you have written a love letter?
I was not born in that generation of writing letters.
And the book, there's also these classic love songs of Somali songwriters. And the strange thing is that young people, young lovers in this month of love, we are in February.
February, the month of love, Valentine's and everything.
Yeah, so people are exchanging this book as gifts instead of flowers and chocolates.
But I heard Valentine's Day is not allowed in this country. Like, they banned it. So maybe that's the reason why they interfered with this launch, because it was kind of promoting what has been.
Yeah, it shows that this committee has more power than they should have. Because they are restricting people. It's expression. You know, when you stifle the people's freedom of expression, you are killing the innovation, you are killing creativity.
I think this is not good for the industry, because we are trying to create jobs. We are trying to nurture talents. Now, here comes an author who has spent maybe even more than an year. You know, writing a book is not easy. It's not easy. There's the writing. First of all, you come up with the idea. You contemplate on this idea. Then you write the book, which might take more than a year. Then there's editing what you've written, because you just don't write and publish. You have to go through it again and again and think of the consequences and what am I.
And then if you are lucky, it may create this movement like this book has created. His author is so lucky, Abdillahi. We congratulate him. And people are like, you know, hyped about your book. And then comes these people and tells you, okay, you cannot come to our city, you cannot have this event, you cannot launch the book.
I really love books, I love reading, and I really like to hear about people who are writing things. And love is something everybody is interested in, because that's why we are alive. Like, we live because we want to make this world a better place, and someone writing about love, and I'm not sure what exactly the angle he took, but if people came to the event, then it means they are interested.
The angle is celebrating love. He's celebrating love. He's telling these stories of legendary love stories from the Somali, you know, folk stories. And he's telling about these songs that were written by prominent Somali songwriters.
Well, I wish him the best. I hope they have mercy on him and let him proceed. Or maybe if there are changes that need to be done on the book and the content, maybe he can change, and you never know.
No, change cannot. No, that should not happen actually. You cannot tell people what to write.
But sometimes I have seen even movies being banned from being viewed in cinemas because maybe their content is not morally
That's
right.
regressive, you know. That's regressive. We don't need that.
Yeah. Well, before we end the show, we have the icon today. Our icon is the last Sultan of Zanzibar. You know, Zanzibar, the island that joined Tanzania. Well, we'll be looking at this Sultan. A Sultan was like a king. Yes, so his name was Jamshid bin Abdullah. Let's take a look.
Our icon today is the last Sultan of Zanzibar. Zanzibar is a small island 20 miles off the Central East African coast. It has a history of being a central location for the slave trade run by Arab rulers in the late 18th century to mid-20th century. The history of Zanzibar is torn between multiple empirical powers spanning centuries of truces and deals that would send it into becoming an island of commerce and colonization until present day. The island's excellent location in the Indian Ocean made it a prime target for the Omani Empire, who had just quelled a rebellion with the help from the British. Jamshid bin Abdullah Al Said was born on 16 September 1929. He was a Zanzibari former royal who was the last reigning Sultan of Zanzibar before being deposed in 1964. He ruled Zanzibar from 1st July 1963 to 12th January 1964. On 10th December 1963, Zanzibar received its independence from the United Kingdom as a constitutional monarchy under Jamshid. This state of affairs was short-lived and Jamshid was overthrown by the Zanzibar Revolution. He fled into exile first to Oman and then later to the United Kingdom with his wife and 6 children as the head of the Zanzibari royal family and as the sovereign of the Order of the Brilliant Star of Zanzibar and the most illustrious Order of Independence of Zanzibar.
It's never good to be the last of anything.
Yeah, it's never good. But sometimes it's good because there'll never be another sultan in Zanzibar. He was the last.
Yeah, but it means that he failed his ancestors, his forebears, his grandfathers. He failed them. He failed the land.
But I think being called the first king or the first sultan and the last king or the last sultan,
it would have been wonderful. It would have been wonderful if he decided to earn the sultanate by his choice.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of our show. Thanks for making time. To our audience, thank you for watching. Catch us again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.